Today the sun shines at 28 degrees of Aquarius. We are officially wrapping up Aquarius season. On the 18th, the sun moves into the sign of Pisces. And, well, there's going to be a shift in the collective in what the present moment focus is. And I think the shift from Aquarius to Pisces is fascinating. It is essentially a shift from science to art. Pisces is a very, it's a very dreamy sign. It does enjoy creativity. I'm just making sure my sound is right. But Aquarius is a sign wherein we maximize our capabilities, our capacity as mental creatures. So whenever we are able to get to a very high level of knowing through the intellect, this is when we have mastered Aquarian energy. And Aquarius there's a specific mantra that is connected to Aquarius. And that mantra is simply to know. Okay, so Aquarians have this ability to have sudden insights or flashes of intuition, of knowing. And when this energy reaches its peak, okay, so tomorrow we're going to be at the 29th degree. And on the 18th specifically, I'll give you guys the exact date. At 2:07 a.m., the sun officially moves from Aquarius into the sign of Pisces. We have a pretty big week this upcoming week. Hey, shout out to Dean Davis joining in live stream. So I'm basically talking about Aquarius, and we are reaching the end of the sign of Aquarius, right? And I think this Aquarius season was a very interesting one as well, because this Aquarius season, oh, did you guys see that orb? That was really cool. I saw that orb. So this Aquarius season really showed us exactly where we are as a collective. Earlier in Aquarius season, when the sun conjuncted Pluto, we were able to clearly see where our transformation and our evolution as a collective has reached us. Now it's interesting because the sign of Aquarius in general, right? There's two sides to it. There's the super advanced, and shout out to Clint being in the chat. There's a super advanced, humanitarian, forward movement and progressive side of things, and then the other side is kind of cold and detached, right? So Aquarian energy can be very cold and detached, and also I would say inhumane. So as much of a humanitarian as Aquarius is as a sign, it can also be and become cold, distant. It does not care whatsoever. And what's interesting about Aquarius energy, once it transcends or gets to a certain point wherein We have done all that we can to progress, to move forward, whether it's in our own personal lives or in the lives of groups. And um, and so Pisces season, the Pisces energy, when that gives way, when the sun moves into Pisces, what ends up happening is we become more tolerant, respectful, and loving. There's this more transcendent feeling. Like, see, right now I see Sabrina chimed in on the chat, you know. She's entitled to her opinion. This is transcending the chaos of humanity. We all have a right to be individuals, okay? Every single one of us has a right to be individuals. And this is why Aquarius is a sign that is like weird. It's eccentric. We kind of look at that sign and they're very unique individuals. You know, if you know an Aquarius in your life, they may be an Aquarius. That may be an Aquarius is they may be a little strange. Let's chime in on this. I said what I said. Sabrina said this. It's stupid. The stars and birth dates GTFO. I mean, you know what's interesting about this? I'm assuming Sabrina is you're a female joining. Please correct me if I'm wrong. You know what's interesting? When people say that I don't believe in the stars, you know what I usually like to say? I say, what about the moon and the way that it affects the gravitational tides of the oceans? Okay. If the moon has the ability to control the tides of the ocean, what do you think it can do to human beings who are made up mostly of water? Just a thought. Just a thought. Anyways, back to the completion of the age of Aquarius. Now, I feel like as a collective, we've kind of seen where we are in this new era. I've talked to my friend, and I said, you know, Pluto in Aquarius, which happened in November, specifically November 19th, when that shift finally occurred, everything changed. Like the entire tides of destiny have changed. And for some people, this is a good change in fortune, in destiny. And for others, it has not been. I've really looked and been present with what's been happening within the political world. And, you know, I can definitely see arguments regarding some of the things. But personally, I think no matter what we see, okay, the most important gift of Aquarius are twofold. One is individuality, hyper individuality. To be able to be yourself unapologetically without shame. And number two, I would say community. But community in a larger sense, like yes, we have communities, sub-niches within the world, but at the end of the day, we are one human species. I believe these two are the gifts of Aquarius and the higher vibration of Aquarius, whereas the lower vibration of Aquarius is very Saturnian and it can revolve around control. It can revolve around, like I said earlier, being inhumane, being detached. So we're wrapping up this season, and what's next? Pisces season. Now, I like Pisces for many reasons, okay? One, it is the sign of the artist, of the dreamer, maybe even daydreamer, or excessive use of fantasy if we want to get to the deep ends of Pisces. It is a water sign, okay? And water signs are all about the psychology of us, our emotions, the depths of our beings. And I just want to give a big salute to Sabrina. She said, I think it's funny when people hate, because it just shows what side of history that they are on. That's just what it is. Human beings are inherently sovereign. Never depend on another person, another group, even a government for your happiness, because ultimately we are sovereign beings and we have the ability of choice. And honestly, when the sun shines at its fullest capacity, it doesn't look and get disappointed of the shadows. Okay, it just shines. It gives light and warmth to all. Just want to give a big shout out to all my friends in the chat. Shout out to the K Real for joining us. And then I do want to answer Clint. This is good, actually. You know what? We'll go through this. I'm going to answer your question towards the end of the live chat because I do want to talk about crypto. I think this is important to talk about crypto. Anyways, Pisces season is going to bring an influx of, I would say, lighter energy than Aquarius season. Now, when it comes to Pisces, we have to be very aware of a few things. Number one is delusion, misconception, misinformation. But on the positive side, like I said, it's healing, it's dreams manifesting. Okay, it's the artist, the creative, it's transcendence, it's the realm of music, bliss. Now, this Pisces season, we have the sun coming into contact with three very important key players. Number one is Saturn. Number two, Neptune. And then finally, the North Node. Right now, the sun is going to go into Pisces as well, and Mercury is also in Pisces. So guess what? We're going to have what's known as a stellium of Piscean energy towards the end of this month, especially March, okay? There's going to be this crescendo because at the end of March, there is going to be a big shift in humanity. I'm going to look at this. Like, mark my words and keep these dates, guys. Keep these dates in handy. Of course, I will talk about them when we come back together tomorrow, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But I think it's something is going to change so drastically. Dean Davis says, March is my birthday. Are you a Pisces or are you an Aries, bro? Drop your exact day of birth. Definitely curious about that. And drop your rising signs too, guys. I'm going to put this in the chat. Drop your rising signs below. I'm going to pin this comment. So, in March, oh my goodness, March 30th, guys. Mark your calendars. March 30th, okay? This is when Neptune is going to, wow. This is when Neptune is going to go into Aries. This is going to be a huge shift for the collective. Dean Davis says Aries, Pisces cusp, March 21st. So, Dean, I'm going to tell you something, bro. I don't believe in cusps. I really, truly believe that you are either in or out of an astrology sign. So each zodiac sign goes from 0 to 29 degrees. Right? There's no cusp. There's like this popular notion of having cusps, but I think you're an Aries, bro. You're like a fresh spring baby. I would definitely have to like pull up your chart to give you an exact answer, but I feel like you're definitely Aries, I would say. But, maybe shoot me an email and I'll look it up and confirm it for you. So, and then Clint says Virgo. I don't know what a rising sign even is. So a rising sign is the sign that was rising on the easternmost horizon when you were born. The moment you were born, the time you were born. So in order to find your rising sign, you need to find what time you were born. Now, and you said birthday August 24th. Yeah, you're definitely a Virgo. Let's touch upon that. For my Virgos, this Pisces season, the sun is going to oppose your sign. So basically, a big focus is relationships, people who are outside of the realm of your influence. My biggest advice during Pisces season would be to allow yourself to make the best informed decisions based on your inner truth and knowing. And the difference between Virgo and Pisces is fascinating because Virgo is the numbers. It's the accountant. It is the day-to-day. It is the hustle, the grind of the day in and day out. Whereas Pisces likes to dream. Pisces likes to imagine. Pisces doesn't care about the details. It wants to become one with the all, essentially. And so my biggest suggestion during this Pisces season is to be true to yourself, okay? Because there might be a certain light that is shown on your relationships because it is the opposite sign. Usually the opposite sign of your sun, moon, or rising represents relationships. Okay, relationships, the other, because it is the seventh sign from the first sign, and the seventh house represents relationships, contractual agreements, and business partnerships, open enemies, I would say, and yeah, that would be pretty much it. So I would definitely, and you're an early Virgo, Clint. So I would say like you had this. I think within this past year, it might not have been easy for you. I would say past year and a half, especially like going back a year and a half, like it was a little difficult because Saturn was opposing your sun, bringing to light certain, bringing to light certain reality checks, like sobering moments of truth, whether it had to do with your health, with your vocation, but you definitely had to like level up recently. And you're 1995, so this is like your Saturn return as well. This is fantastic. This is like an intense period of maturing and also becoming an individual. So the K-Rail asks, what makes a sign rising or not? The sun. The sun? And no, the sun is just where the sun was at the moment of your birth by degree and minute. But the rising sign, as I said before, is the sign that is the zodiac sign that is rising on the easternmost plane, easternmost horizon when you were born. So imagine you're born, boom, and then the easternmost horizon is a zodiac sign is rising, and that is known to be like your personality, your persona. Yeah, that's what the rising sign would be. The mask that you wear to the public, right? How the world sees you, because that's essentially the mask. To me, the sun represents our wants, whereas the moon represents our needs. And the rising sign is the persona that we show up as in relation to our wants and our needs. I hope that answered. Dean Davis says, would hospitals still hold birth times? I'm not sure. I understand. The best way is through parents, but I would believe that hospitals would be able to provide that maybe if you reach out to them, talk to them, see what they say. Anyways, let's go back from the original title of, let's go back to the original title of this video, this live stream, which is what's next. Prepare for an energy shift as the sun moves into Pisces. So from the 18th onwards, I would expect us to, as a collective, as the present focus of our wants, we're going to go from this like really cerebral, mental collective, like worrying about the entire collective and what's happening on the world stage, to more inwards. Pisces is just such an inward sign. And Pisces energy, the best way to utilize Piscean energy is to create, to meditate, to go within, to pray, to tap into the divine, however way that you worship something that is higher than yourself. That is how you tap into Piscean energy. However you connect with something that is higher than yourself. This is going to be, I'm excited for Pisces season because it's going to start to trine all my Scorpio energy. And that's usually good. I do enjoy harmonious aspects. Trines are harmonious aspects of 120 degrees. Whenever they form with any said planets, they will dispense supreme harmonious blessings. Usually on Sundays, I was thinking like, what if we make this like a week ahead type of vibe and we look into what the week has in store. But if I'm being honest, guys, this week, the only major thing that I saw was the sun moving into Pisces, which is pretty huge. It's a pretty big shift of energy. Yeah, there's nothing else really for this week until we get to next Sunday, wherein we will have Mars stationing direct. So if you feel like you've been frustrated and can't get any forward movement happening in your life, this is due to Mars being in retrograde. Now, remember what I always mention on this channel: correlation, not causation. Mars retrograde, which is when a planet, anytime any planet is retrograde, is when it appears to go backwards in the sky. And this is the best way that I can explain it, because no planet goes backwards, okay? Everything has an elliptical path, and it's essentially circular. But when a planet goes retrograde, essentially, like, think about like a racetrack, okay? The Earth is speeding up and turning a corner. And as this planet is going, it turns this corner. It doesn't mean that this planet is going backwards, but it appears to go backwards because the ecliptic pathway of the Earth is surpassing that of that said planet. So it appears to go backwards. The energy, when we do reach that passing point, is known as stationing. Whenever a planet stations to go retrograde or stations to go direct, it means we're at that point wherein we have reached our closest point to that said planet. And from there, that planet's energy, okay, its impact is closest to the Earth. And so if for the past few weeks or months, you guys have felt like you haven't been able to push forward on like a certain desires or passions of yours, just know that this was meant to be a time of reflection. And Mars is the god of war. It is traditionally ruled by Aries. And Aries plays to win. This is Mars. What is war for other than for victory or maybe for justice? So Mars being in Cancer is actually not in its best sign, because Cancer squares, which is a 90-degree angle, Aries energy, which is a challenge, which also brings motivation, but mainly it is a challenge or conflicting energies trying to find expression between each other. Now, this Mars in retrograde wasn't about like victory, like let's go and fight this war, but it was more a fight for inner truth. Inner truth. Okay? Like I feel Cancer is ruled by the moon, so we're like I feel this way. This is how I feel, and I'm going to act based on how I feel, which you can see why this would be a dangerous Mars position to have. Because Mars in Aries does not think, it just does, which, what do they say? Fortune favors the bold. Okay? And so with fortune favoring the bold, Aries energy is exactly that embodiment. Versus Cancer, it's like, I just want to feel what feels right. And I've certainly been on the receiving end of that. Also, when it comes to Mars retrograde in Cancer, also family is something that has come up as well. Like, I feel like if you've had issues relating family or some family drama or fights, this has been part of that. Now, of course, anytime that anywhere Mars is, that's where our passion, that's where our drive is. So there's always a silver lining to this. So even though there might have been some family beef, once Mars goes direct from its retrogravity, on the 23rd of February, we will start to see resolution. Now, Mars has been retrograde in my 7th house of relationships, okay? I'm a Capricorn rising, so there's definitely been some intensity when it comes to the relationship sector of my life. But I'm very excited for this energy to give way and for Mars to go direct on the 23rd of February. I think this is going to be a tremendous forward movement for everybody. Of course, we have Venus retrograde in the beginning of March, but we have this 1 week window when everything is just going to be full speed ahead because all planets will be direct. Now, Dean Davis says, how long has Mars been in retrograde for? Mars has been retrograde since December 6th. So December 6th, whatever was happening starting December 6th until February 23rd, okay, from that window, there might not have been a lot of forward movement in our life, not a lot of forward momentum. But good news is, after the 23rd of February, we will officially be moving forward. The K-Reel says the movie Melancholia has some cool planet movement sequences. I got to check that out. Dean Davis says, Mars retrograde, I must have been feeling that this month, finding it a bit hard to motivate myself. Now that I know I am Aries, Mars must be hitting me hard. That is true. Since you are an early Aries, it's not hitting you hard, actually. It's actually in harmony with you, because once it goes direct, it's going to go into the sign of Leo, and it's going to form that supremely harmonious aspect, 120-degree aspect to your sun. And I feel like that's beautiful. So it's kind of like maybe what you've been feeling is like you know what you want and you know what you want to go after and go for. But there has been this like pushback, like you're not finding enough motivation. You're kind of basing your inspiration off of emotion, okay, off of feeling. But this isn't like the same as enthusiasm, if that makes sense, because fire signs, they're very passionate, very enthusiastic, and they explode. They go. They're like, let's do it. Act now, think later, worry about it later. Like they are on the whim, which is beautiful, because fire is exciting. It is passion. It's action. It's what gets things moving. Okay, Earth signs are kind of slow. They move a little bit, and it's very practical for them. Water signs, they're extremely psychic and intuitive, but they can be very intensely, they can feel very intensely as well. I don't want to say emotional because I feel like we're all emotional, okay? This is not, everybody has emotions. This is part of the human experience. So, Pisces season, meditate, contemplate, go within, create, worship, pray, speak things into existence, especially with Mercury being in Pisces. And most importantly, get lost in the sauce. Pisces is the sauce, okay? But don't have too much sauce. Shout out Gucci Mane, he said this. If you have not enough sauce, you're lost. But if you have too much sauce, you can get lost in the sauce. But Pisces is the sauce, okay? So make sure that you do have that. And, of course, we're going to talk about every transit the sun makes, as this is one with the sun, my daily astrology vlog. I do want to share some things. This is going to be my official outfit, costume. I might change the pendants here and there. The shirt might change as well underneath, but overall, this is like a new costume. Shout out to one of my good friends who was the one who told me. He was just like, hey, you should do this, this, and this, and I was like, all right. And I'm really happy because this is 1 week. We're celebrating officially 1 week since we launched this series, One with the Sun. And I can't tell you guys just how much I have grown in just 1 week. I don't know if you guys have seen the shorts that are coming out, the YouTube shorts, the videos. I do appreciate all of you guys with all of the love, the liking, everything, the commenting. I really, truly appreciate that. So let's jump into the comments again. It says, Dean Davis says, makes sense. I do have a multi-part plan I've been formulating for months now during this isolation season. It sort of worries me though, because I know once I start this, everything will change. My brother, this is the way, bro. If I can give you any advice, is to just go for it, bro. Don't worry about results, because I feel like a lot of people worry about results, right? But worry about doing a job well done. That is the most important thing. Even with this, I'm doing the best that I can. I'm excited. I love being here and doing these lives. It's just such a fun and exciting part of something new that I started. A lot of you guys know me from Astro Crypto, which is using astrology to predict the crypto markets, which, by the way, I don't know if Clint is in here still. Clint, if you're in here, let me know and I will answer your question. And maybe we'll dive into some crypto musings as well. Yeah, and now this is like a big shift for me, this one with the sun, because it's purely astrology content. Clint is still in the chat. Shout out to Clint. We got you asked me if I am still holding XRP, and the answer is no. Guys, I got out of crypto on the top of the last bull run. Now, being that we are in Aquarius season, I think this is a very, very appropriate topic. The sign of Aquarius rules cryptocurrencies. And being that Pluto is in the sign of Aquarius, and Pluto is the planet of wealth, okay? Of extreme wealth, I should say. And also control and manipulation. So we got to be careful of that. I really believe the crypto space will either completely blow or something will happen wherein it will be very regulated and controlled. When we think of Aquarius sign, it is a sign of the people, correct? And the sign of futuristic technology, blockchain technology, being part of that. Now, with Pluto there, I really feel like crypto may either moon or something is going to completely destroy it. Okay? Pluto has no middle ground. It is a planet that rules extremes. And so, Pluto being in Aquarius, the sign that rules cryptocurrencies, prepare to see extremes. Either, like I said, there's just going to be this unbelievable breakthrough with it, which it may happen, or it may be absolutely controlled by the powers that be. I do find it interesting that, the President of the United States, he continues to mention and name himself the crypto president. And I really wonder why, okay? I guess time will tell when the time comes, but one thing when it comes to markets, okay, market analysis and financial astrology, I really believe this, when it comes to financial astrology and the stock market, okay, and maybe even the economy as a whole, one aspect that I am looking at is going to happen in the summer when Saturn and Jupiter square for the final time. When this happens, okay, I can give you guys an exact date and you guys are my witness, okay? The way that I even predicted all the crypto stuff that I predicted, by the way, is through astrology. Like, it is an extremely practical science. It is not just your daily horoscope. This is, one, the hero's journey, which is a representation of the evolution of the soul. And two, these 12 zodiac signs rule the 12 areas of life that humans get to experience. And so it can be extremely practical and mundane. So I'm going to give you guys that date for, this is when both Jupiter, oh, this is 2026. Oh my God, I was like, went too far ahead. Yes, sir. Shout out to 904 Classic Legend. What's going on? I like that word, legend. That was my word on Valentine's Day. Every day I pick a word, and that's like the word of the day. Today's word was slow. I don't know why, but that's the one I chose. And honestly, I'm not putting any time constraints for this live stream because we have all these amazing people in the chat. The K-Real said, I need 2 lifetimes to capture a life-changing financial boost with 1 Bitcoin. Perhaps. Dean David says, could you imagine a BTC drop from 100,000 to 30,000? It would be devastating. Anything is possible. Like I said, it'll either be something that is so integrated into everything we do as a society, or it's going to be non-existent at some point. Maybe because of CBDCs or something like that, because the whole Saturn and Aquarius era from 2020 to 2023, when we had the COVID shutdowns, honestly, like that was, and this is not my words, this is actually one of my good astrologer friends. He said that was the beta test, but I do agree with that, in that it was the beta test, simply because that was when they played with the parameters of control, just to see how people would respond or how they wouldn't respond. All right, so that square that I told you guys about, which could spell Oof. Guys, June is going to be one for the books. Oh, June. Oh, it's on a Sunday. Whoa. Markets are closed, but it's on a Sunday. June 15th, 7:36 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Jupiter and Saturn square. Now, there was a point in time where, and this was recent, where I looked at the 2008 financial crash, okay? And I was like, okay, I'm curious what was happening in the sky then. Jupiter and Saturn were forming a harmonious aspect, which kind of scared me, okay? And shout out to Greg, I tune into his channel from time to time, but he says something, he says, you guys have seen nothing yet, okay? And honest to God, like, if the 2008 stock market crash happened when Jupiter and Saturn were in a harmonious alignment with each other, what's going to happen when Jupiter and Saturn clash in a challenging angle towards each other? So summer is definitely going to be one to watch. And it's been this dance that Jupiter and Saturn have done with each other. This square, because Jupiter went retrograde, Saturn was retrograde. And so this is the third and final square between Jupiter and Saturn. And usually this is a resolution of some sort that we will see. If you feel like you've tried to been breaking through, if you've been trying to break through something, but you still haven't quite gotten it yet, there's like this challenging tension in the air when it comes to it. And these are big changes. These are not small changes. Just know that Saturn, Jupiter, their cycles, the square between them, this cycle which started in 2020, okay, when everything started to frickin' balloon, right? There was a drop and then everything started to balloon, whether it was crypto, stock markets, housing market, everything, okay? There is going to be something that gives way with this third and final square. But I almost see it as a manifestation, right? Squares represent manifestations. And so I see this as a manifestation of the beginning seeds that we planted specifically in December of 2020, which for me was crypto, music, YouTube. So these are all good things for me to think about as well. So whatever seeds that you planted around December of 2020 or 2021, they are seeds that will begin to burst. They will start to break ground, and we will see certain results from the seeds that we planted back then. So think about what you were doing around that time. This was actually, do you guys want to know exactly what I was doing? Shout out to the Piscean goddess. Thank you for joining us. This is all about you. This is all about Pisces season. But we're kind of talking we're talking right now about the final Saturn Jupiter square, and there was something else actually. So for me personally, during December of 2020, when we had the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction, there was three things that I was doing. One, that was the first time I actually invested in crypto, like all in. Two, that was when I was hosting some sort of event, like a music event, and subsequently this group that I was involved in led to my first tour. And and I think this was definitely after I launched my YouTube. So my YouTube I launched in April of 2020. In December of 2020, it was like well on its way. So I feel like whatever you were doing around that time, and I'm talking out loud here, but December of 2020, this is when the seeds are going to sprout by the summer. We will see physical, tangible manifestations, for good or for better. Because for some people, this energy, this new beginning, Aquarian energy, interacts with them harmoniously. And then for others, it might be a little bit more challenging, specifically the other fixed signs, which is Aquarius, or not Aquarius, I already said Aquarius, but Leo, Taurus, Scorpio. So, yeah, let's jump into the chats. The K-Real asks, are you going to play some of your music on this program? I will. So I'm going to integrate. I definitely will. Music is coming. All these things are coming. One with the Sun, which is my daily astrology vlog. This is going to take precedence. This is what I'm going to do Sunday to Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're going to break down the astrology. And sometimes I might be on here for a while, other times not. Just depends who's in the chat and how I may best serve the questions being asked. And you guys inspire me, honestly. Like, when you guys are here in this chat, the things that we talk about, I can always tie them to astrology, and I really enjoy that. So the answer to your question, K-Real, is yes. And the Vegas rooftop was sweet. Clint says, do you have any precious metals? I do. I'm Persian. We love gold. I love gold, and if I have a chance to buy gold jewelry, I absolutely will. So anyways, thank you guys for being here. Aquarius season is coming to an end. There has been this intense focus, right? Intense being Pluto in Aquarius, focus being the Sun, in the collective, in humanity. And no matter what your stance is, your political affiliation, the gift of Aquarius is to realize and recognize that we are all one human family. And it is that realization which leads to the Sun transforming into a completely different energy in Pisces season, wherein this realization takes root, and now we act from this knowing that we are all one. Which Piscean energy is so fascinating because it is, with all energies, with all zodiac signs, there's a dual manifestation, the positive and the negative. So once you realize this connectedness, this oneness in humanity, you may look at every human being as your brother or sister. You may get lost in nature, in the sight of something very beautiful. But you have to be careful in that, because Piscean energy, as beautiful, dreamy, and imaginative as it is, there is another side to it, which is delusion. Yes, this individual may be my brother or sister, but it's always important to practice discernment and utilize the opposite energy of Pisces, which is Virgo, which is the details, which I know my Pisces people out there, they may not be big fans of what I'm about to say, but the devil is in the details. So equilibrium, and of course me as a Libra sun, I would say this, equilibrium is always important when navigating energy as this. But I'm not worried, because Saturn is in Pisces, and so is the North Node. So North Node transiting Pisces right now is going to bring out the higher vibration, higher qualities of Pisces, which is going to be extremely spiritual, in my opinion. And then you have Saturn, which is like, okay, through this fog, right? The Pisces can represent the fog, but Saturn is clarity. It's sobriety. So with Saturn in Pisces, we're not being tricked that easily, especially if you have Scorpio in your chart. Like, this is like playing so well into the Scorpio in the chart. This is supremely harmonious. And if you have Earth in your chart, not only is this going to add some amazing, practical, dreamy, dreams come true energy, but also, like I said, responsibility, but responsibility towards your fantasies, things that you want to manifest that you have been envisioning for a long time. So I'm excited. And like I said, it's going to be Friday, or no, not Friday, the 18th at 2 something in the morning where this energy gives way. I sincerely thank each and every one of you for tuning in. This was my longest live stream for One with the Sun. You know, maybe Sundays this will be our little tradition where there is no time limit and we just go. Thank you for joining. I'm Kian the One with the Sun. Let me know in the comments below any insights that you guys gleaned and what you're most looking forward to this Pisces season. And make sure you guys join me daily at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Sunday to Friday, in being one with the sun. May God bless you all. And I will see you guys tomorrow at 6. Peace.